Welcome again, and thank you so much for coming to the webinar today. I would like to just quickly introduce who we are. Forward here. So we're a company called Intersection Inc. We're a design and innovation agency based out of San Diego, California. We have a 50-year history in automotive design, medical design, cross-industry experience, and product design. But the methodology that we've always abided by is something called human-centered design. And so we felt it was important to teach that to organizations and stakeholders. So we created what we call the Design Academy. And that's our education collaboratory, where we actually teach what we practice here at Intersection. We offer workshops and lots of ways for you to further your education. We partner with other organizations as well. Right now we have a great partnership with the University of Georgia in Atlanta, and we have a workshop coming up, so stay tuned for more details about that. This is me here, one day at the Grand Canyon, obviously, off work. But today I'm the growth strategist with Intersection Inc., which allows me to speak to organizations about the integration of human-centered design into their structure and how they might evolve into an innovative organization. I'm also the lead facilitator for the Design Academy. So I run our public and private workshops here in San Diego and with organizations as well. Just to quickly run over the agenda for today, I do want to go over a high level of human-centered design and what that is and why it matters. And then I'll spend the majority of our conversation on the juicy stuff, which is how to integrate human-centered design into your organization and what are those building blocks that you need to get started. So I'm going to try something new for me today, which is actually just come back here. I'm going to put up, I'd like to launch this poll, which is asking you your experience level with human-centered design, just to help me get a feel for how much you might already know and maybe if there's other depth I should go into. Okay, some with none, great. Oh, this is exciting. It's nice to have some fresh ones out there. Never been, we have some, very great. Thank you, thank you. This is pretty cool. Okay, so I'll try to make this value for all levels here. And thank you. If you do have other questions and want to know more about human-centered design, I'm always available to answer questions in depth. Feel free to call us or look on our website. Thank you. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to end the poll here. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so this is really an overview of the human-centered design methodology. And we'd like to call it a methodology and not a process, because really the different pieces of it and stages of it can be organized in different ways. You can actually prototype at the beginning, and you can, the cycle reverses and returns and repeats. So it's a very agile type of approach to innovation. And it's not something that you need to replace your current innovation processes for, or internal processes, whether it's a waterfall or a stage gate or agile or lean. Human-centered design is actually something that complements those in a great way by providing richer data in the beginning. So I'll talk you through it just quickly to give you that don't have any experience with human-centered design a quick overview. We start with empathize. And that's really gaining empathy for the end user. So oftentimes organizations will start with defining a problem, maybe based on quantitative data or what their internal stakeholders believe is right for the customer. It could even be someone thinks they have a great idea and that's all that they begin with. So sometimes the empathy portion is actually completely omitted. And that is really, for us in human-centered design world, the key to everything. Understanding your consumers and empathizing with them is the core of actually coming up or solving the right problem, coming up with the right ideas, and then being able to deliver the best solutions. So this is the flow that we use to define the tools that we create and the way that we approach each challenge. So why now is human-centered design important? Why does it matter? And it's, human-centered design isn't new. It's been around for a long time, really. But there are some things happening around us now that are really driving organizations to sit up and pay attention. We say the train has already left the track. I'll show you more data on organizations that are implementing this and seeing the excellent results. So things like the technology, the ubiquity of technology around us, and how organizations are trying to humanize those technological solutions so that their users, their intended users, actually use them, and that they improve the adoption of these new products and services that they are developing. Disruptive innovation, as we know and feel, is really coming from any direction, right? And keeps us up at night. So how can we evolve as a more innovative organization and be more agile and responsive as we move forward into the future? Things like big data are really giving new insights to organizations, but sometimes they just end up as a pile of data and lack a lot of the deeper context that organizations need to synthesize and extract the ideas that they need that will really impact their users, and also helping them determine which parts of the data matter and which are less of a priority today. And of course, creating sustainable organizational practices. We don't want machines in our organizations, right, and engines that are old and can't be agile and change and shift gears easily. Organizations are looking for a way to build a culture and create a way to come up with innovative ideas consistently so that they can sustain their competitive advantage in the market. And the organization has to operate that way from the inside out as well. This is a great look at some of the benefits that an organization gets with the integration of human-centered design. You can see, besides the bullet points that I've listed there, on the right side of the screen, there's a report that was published by Forrester on IBM's total impact of their design thinking practice. And they really quantified well the benefits that it brought their organization. So things like faster design development, better product outcomes, organizational process and efficiency, really increased over a 3-year period, which isn't much. This report is available on our website in our Knowledge Center. So if you go to thedesignacademy.com, you'll be able to download it and you can read the full report. It's pretty fascinating. And this is a slide that we love to share. This is a report that was done by the Design Management Institute. There's a link there at the bottom of the slide, and so you can read the report. We also have it on our website. But this really speaks to the advantages proven over time by design-centric organizations from using human-centered design. So over a 10-year period, the design value index showed an improvement over the standard, the S&P 500 of earnings by 211%. So what that means is the design value index was created based on 9 criteria that defined an organization as a design-centric organization, which meant that you had to actually have it well integrated into the organization. So for example, design operated at scale across the enterprise. Design held a prominent place on the company org chart. There was a growing level of investment over time to support its influence, and it had the support of senior leadership as well. So those are just some of the 9 criteria, but altogether, what it showed was that they weren't looking at design as a, oops, it popped off of there, as a single, it was recognized as being not a single factor, but looked at as an integrated and influential force in an organization. And that's what it takes to really achieve these results. I'm sure you recognize a lot of the companies there. Again, this whole report is on our website if you're interested in downloading that. So this is something called the business strategy wheel that we developed. And the reason is that once you bring the tools internally into an organization, it can benefit all departments. And we wanted to demonstrate that. So starting with, sales and marketing or operations, human resources, there are great advantages that each individual department can take, the gains from using the tools. So for example, if you're in sales and marketing and you're using some of these human-centered design tools, you'll be able to deeply understand the behaviors of your consumers more, which allows you to target those communications better and drive the interactions in a more impactful and effective way. Another example is in the human resources department. So using the tools there, you can improve recruitment and retention. It helps you better understand your employees, what they're looking for, potential employees, what they seek in an organization. It allows you to look at their experience over their entire journey and improve the areas where they're lacking some consistency or traction with your employees. It will help you create more engaging training and effective communications throughout the organization. If you already have a research and development department that is doing your research for you, the human-centered design tools can enhance what they're already doing, which is to bring about more qualitative insights, help them better identify the problems and solutions. And they really encourage a more inclusive approach. Human-centered design is all about bringing in cross departments, cross perspectives. So the research gets richer and richer by integrating the tools. So I'm going to talk more about the tools and what those are just here in a second to help you understand that as we get into the building blocks. But you can see how using the tools in operations in any of the departments actually has a ripple effect. And once you start to integrate them, you're shifting the culture and the thinking within each department. And that folds out into a culture around the organization that becomes more proactive, becomes more agile, becomes more inclusive. And that actually begins to build a stronger, to support the organization strategically by making it more sustainable, relevant. Their solutions are becoming more relevant. They're becoming more innovative and more resilient. Okay, sorry, I just needed a quick drink of water. So as we think about how to do this, how do you begin? What are those basic building blocks that we need? I'll walk you through the 3 buckets that we've created today. I want to check on my Q&A here. Okay, it looked like I had a question, but it was just a note. Okay, so as we move forward, the the tools that I talk about, what are human-centered design thinking tools? Which ones do you need? Where would you find them? So what we call a tool are things like mapping out a customer journey. So it would be a way of charting that journey and thinking through it, giving the prompts and the layout and framework for you to think through that journey. And other things like personas. How many of you have heard of journey maps or personas? You can type in the chat box. Yep. Okay. Hi, David. Yep. Thank you. These are common things that we call tools. The Design Academy has developed 42 different tools. So there's a lot of ways to approach every problem. And which ones do you need? It really depends on the problem that you are solving. There are some common ones that we use in almost every challenge, like a persona, which is really, a deeper profile on your stakeholders. The journey maps are common, operational blueprints. So, and where do you find them? Well, while you can find varying types of tools, even online, we've curated our own and created a set that we find essential. And so we have our 42. And if you're interested in learning more about the ones that we've created, you're welcome to ask more about that later or check us out online. But it's really a way of approaching problems and thinking about them. You don't need all of the tools every time. You can pick and choose which ones fit, but it's understanding the tool set that you're working with and how they apply to different challenges, what you get out of those, what are the outcomes of using those tools. And then you can strategically pull out the tools you need based on your challenge. This is a picture of the cards that we have that you can actually get from us and that we give to any of our workshop attendees as well. So once you've started with the tools and you understand the individual types of tools that you can use for challenges, the next thing is in your organization is to understand how do you begin? How do you build the competency using the tools? How do you strengthen the skill set of human-centered design by integrating and training around these tools? So the key things to start thinking about would be who in your organization should get trained first, or when would you start? What level of expertise would they need? Is it just a basic level of a set of 5 to 10 tools? Do you want master levels in your organization that can lead the organization? But understanding who across different departments needs to be trained will help you start to lay out your next key building block, which is your framework. So once you've decided on who, and it's, ideally it's a cross-organizational type of training where you're bringing in people from different divisions, different disciplines, and spreading the training out through your organization. But you need to have a place for all these ideas to go. Once they've been trained, once they start using them, then as they begin to integrate the tools, they're coming up with ideas, and the organization needs to lay out a framework so that there's a plan for the ideas to be able to be managed, right? Like a knowledge management system for all of these excellent, innovative ideas that are coming out now from across the organization. We worked with one organization that had a system where the employees at the front line could submit using a template their ideas, and that would go to what they called an innovation council. And then the innovation council would go through and prioritize based on the business strategy that they had for the organization and how well each one aligned, where it fit in, what it would cost, different factors like that. They would then select so many each quarter to move forward onto a deeper research process and solution building. So that's one way it was done, but it can get really chaotic if you build in the competency and get ideas sprouting out from everywhere, and then they don't have anywhere to go. And so then people lose faith in the system and what's happening to everything. So in order to take advantage of your investment in all of this training, definitely have a framework in place that can guide the ideas through the pipeline and resulting in excellent innovative ideas for your organization. So. Okay, so let's get into the thick of it here. So phase one, as you can see, we have sitting atop two different areas. And they really kind of go together in the first few months when we start engaging with organizations. But what's involved under aware and commit is gaining that leadership engagement and making sure that they are on board, setting the intention for why they're doing this, and making sure it's aligning with the visions of the organization. If you're familiar with systems thinking, you know that no significant change can happen without it coming from the top, right? From the true goals of the organization. So knowing that those are aligned and you have the leadership commitment is really going to strengthen the potential for success when you're implementing this type of methodology across an organization. It can sometimes come in from the middle and elevate up, but if ideas aren't managed, we don't have that framework, it might just look like a spurting of chaotic energy and can get squashed really quickly. So making sure that it's aligning with the leadership when you have their buy-in is really important. And then also designating, if it's not obviously probably the CEO leading the integration, there'll need to be someone who's really in charge and taking ownership of this. So pinpointing someone as a champion in your organization is important to make sure that it is continually driving. And hopefully it's tied to their performance goals as well. And then as we step through that, the next thing we want to think about is the internal research that's available. So what we'll do is typically go in and find out, where are we starting from? What is our baseline of innovation? How does your organization currently today come up with new ideas? What processes are already in place? And get kind of a baseline understanding of where the organization is at in terms of innovation period, right? Maybe it's not, maybe it doesn't innovate at all and it's been doing the same thing for the last 30 years. Maybe it's come up with some great products recently, and it's understanding how those have come about, and really that baseline of where we're starting from. And then from there, once we know what's already happening in the organization, we can start developing a training roadmap. So how do we begin, right? How do we now build this in? And maybe there's a challenge that we can even start with that gives us a kind of a way to kick off. But it's where do we begin? Who learns first? What's that timeline? This is where that starts to come in, so that there's a plan of evolving learning throughout the organization. Another great idea is to add in a tiger team, we call them, but maybe you bring in a team to help kick off the learning, and perhaps it's one person that you bring in from each department, and they create we call them a tiger team that can really champion human-centered design and the training through the organization as it begins. As we move on into phase two, now we have our roadmap, we know where we want to go, we know at what level we want them to be trained, and we've got our head around what we want to do. And now we need to develop that framework that we talked about, that management system. So we know once we get that training going and everybody's competency level up, we know how to manage all of the ideas and what the flow of information will look like that's coming out from there. So that's the next stage, and it will look different for each organization. You might not do, as I mentioned before, an innovation council in that system, but definitely you need to have something in place that helps you understand the flow and to optimize the ideas and information that's coming out of your human-centered design talent. A great thing to establish in this phase is to create a space within your organization. We've called it here a human-centered design innovation lab or immersion room. And this is just a great way to show outwardly that to the internal people in the organization, whether they're working on the projects or not, what's taking place, and to get their feedback on different projects. So this would be a space where if you have a team working on a challenge, they can go in and display their data, display their research, maybe conduct some of it in this space. But it's an open space so that others can give feedback and contribute. If it's hard to include cross-departmental stakeholders in all of the research and to set up meeting after meeting to get their input, sometimes this is a better way to do that. You can set it up near a lunchroom or in a central part of a quad area, a central part of the organization, so that people passing by can come in and give their input to what you're working on. And then, of course, getting started with that internal training and creating some mentor and champion leads also to back that up and to keep that going. So moving into the next phase, phase 3. Now, let's say you've gotten your training going, you've done it across different disciplines within your organization. Perhaps you're only in one division. Now you can perhaps extend it out to other divisions, expand it further across the organization. Using the framework system that you developed, you'll have a portfolio in the end of ideas that are coming through that. So this is a great stage where you can see the tangible ideas and concepts that are coming through the design work and start to prioritize those, manage that portfolio, and perhaps elevate some of those into further development based on their alignment with your overall business strategy. And then the process integration is key here too. So let's say you have your framework for managing the ideas from human-centered design work, but perhaps you have other processes embedded in your organization. As I mentioned before, it could be a waterfall type of process, like the stage gate, agile, lean, other systems and processes that are in place right now for product development in the organization, and understanding how this can tie right into those, and so that those are benefiting from this process as well, and they marry together. We also create, usually at this stage for our clients, something called a guidebook, so that there's a real a documented process in place that you can refer to for how this fully integrates into the organization and is connecting with those other processes as well. Of course, to sustain it, you want to continue that mentorship. You'll always have people coming in to the organization that are new and fresh, and they'll need to jump into the training, catch up with the others, and mentors are a great way to also create experts in the organization. And then support activities are fun to do. It's really key to keep the momentum alive in the organization around human-centered design. It's a culture shift, and there can be a lot of resistance when using the tools, because it's such a mindset change inside the organization that the support activities are a way to constantly reinforce it in a fun way. So something like a lunch and learn, where people at lunchtime can go and talk about tools. We like to run some of these, and there's really fun and engaging ways to keep the excitement up. There can be short challenges that aren't, these gigantic innovative sort of ideas, but maybe something that is a quick win for the organization, that we can solve with something like a sprint. And sprints are typically like a 5-day intensive design thinking, just collaborative a session that we'll do, a workshop. And at the end, you really do come out with some excellent thinking around a challenge and something that you can work with tangibly to solve a problem. Quick wins are always great to have. Other things like maybe an intranet within the organization that's sharing these ideas. We call it, the rhythm of news, and how that can keep the excitement and momentum going in the organization can really be helpful. Sharing articles about human-centered design is also a great way to keep educating people on the relevancy of it. Of course, if you do have an intranet, someone will need to manage that. So we've seen organizations do it, and it's really great, but make sure that someone's also managing that so it doesn't get lost in just the general chaos of messaging and conversation. Okay. And then as phase 4 is really about scaling, right? Maximizing what you've done. So you've taken it from 0, you've incrementally increased your competency, you've developed your frameworks into something sophisticated now that integrates with your other processes. You've kept up the learning. People are starting to shift in their thinking and their mindset. The culture is evolving. And now you really want to continue to scale this through the organization so that you can fully become a creative organization. And so let's say if you have other global locations, you may want to think about extending the learning to them. Continuous learning, always maintaining the skill sets. You can also take people deeper and deeper into the human-centered design tools. There's so many of them, like even the stakeholder mapping, for example, or the operational blueprints. There's certain tools that are so dynamic and have so many different layers to them that there's an opportunity there to really advance your education and skill set using those. So we offer at the Design Academy different levels of learning, from our basic we call ambassador, through practitioner and expert, and then up to master level. So the master level is where we develop facilitators as well. And by developing your own internal facilitators within your organization, they can help you continue the learning in your organization without having to bring in an outside consultant. This is a glimpse at our badges for 2020 that we offer. They're digital badges at the different levels of learning with the Design Academy. It's a great way to acknowledge who within the organization is learning at what level, who might be your leaders, your tiger team. So it's a nice way to visibly share that level of expertise. And then quickly, before I wrap up, just wanted to note our upcoming workshop, which we're very excited about. It's a 2-day workshop with the University of Georgia in their Executive Ed Terry College of Business School. For more information, check out our website. You can log in there, but we are doing a 2-day intensive workshop there. We've done it before. It was incredibly successful, so much so that we're back again this spring. And please join us in Atlanta from May 6th to 7th. Get your ambassador badge. It's great if you bring a team along with you. You can learn more and take back more to your organization as a team than you can as just one person. So please, we encourage you to bring your teams with you. Definitely check out the link and sign up today. The class is getting full and we'd love to have you there. So thank you. I guess I did go a little bit over, but I'm still happy to answer any questions. If there's anybody on the line that's that would like to ask anything, please feel free and I will stay and answer your questions. Oops, where did I go? Computer does that sometimes. Any questions? Sorry. I'm not seeing any questions. I hope this was valuable and that you were able to get some helpful thoughts and thinking around human-centered design in your organization through this webinar. Sorry, I'm skipping through because I want to get back to the links at the end in case you do have questions or would like to send me an email and ask them. That's great. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. We do have another one. I just got a message that the internet was unstable, so I hope I didn't lose anyone. And okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. Please email if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Anytime I can go over this with you again, please just give me an email and I can do it over the phone anytime or answer deeper questions for you. I appreciate all of your time. It was really great. This was my first one, so thank you. If there were any glitches, I apologize, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.